Welcome back, everyone.
Hey y'all, it's Annie
and Riley.
Today, May 5th, 2023, on the Literary Podcast, we'll be doing a deep dive into 3 texts from the World's End Unit. The Beginning of the End of the World by Lucille Clifton, The Nuclear Taurus by George Johnson, and There Will Come Soft Rain by Ray Bradbury. And our goal today is... Really? Okay, here's a hint. It has to do with our future.
Oh, right. We hope this episode helps listeners understand why humans try to imagine the future.
Personally, I've imagined the future before.
Me too. There's just something about it that draws people in. Oh.
You know what that sound means. Pop culture reference time.
This episode's pop culture reference is... World War III.
Wait, I've only heard of that on TikTok.
Well, it's not very publicized, but I chose this reference because, in a way, it mirrors, the same values the 3 texts have.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, people believe a real World War III would result in the end of the world, and the texts we're discussing today are just illustrating the end of the world in different forms.
Oh, I get it. I just have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
You like cockroaches?
What?
Do you like cockroaches?
Not particularly. Why?
Because You and the Family and The Beginning of the End of the World by Lucille Clifton are just alike. In fact, they want to step forward and try to drown me.
I'd do the same if they were all up in my scene.
Let's get started with the background information on Lucille. Alright, first question says, when and where was Lucille born and when did she die?
Ooh, I got this one. So Lucille was born on June 27th in 1936 in Depew, New York, but sadly she passed away on February 13th in 2010.
Alright, the next one says, where did Lucille get her college education?
So she attended Howard University and majored in drama.
Don't forget that 2 years later she transferred to Fredona State Teachers College, where she graduated in 1955.
Right. Do you know if Lucille had any jobs before becoming an author?
Well, she had 3 jobs before she became an author. She was a claims clerk, a literature assistant, and believe it or not, a teacher.
Wow, that really proves what Jeff Sentner said was right. Anyone at any age can become a successful author.
Only if they have determination and imagination. Let's get into the plot of The Beginning of the End of the World.
First things first, we know that the cockroaches are at a decline, and us humans normally try to kill them as soon as we see them.
Yeah, so a family wakes up to a sink full of cockroaches. The first thing they tried was drowning them. Then the poem skips to the next morning.
So the cockroaches are back now, but this time they have a defeated demeanor.
It's as if they were trying to warn the humans of the consequences. This brings us to the theme.
One small decision can cause a chain reaction. How do you like this one?
Oh, I think it fits perfectly with the poem and its overall meaning.
Alright, last up for The Beginning of the End of the World is the time period.
For this one, I'll play a snippet of a song from the time period the beginning of the end of the world was wrote in, and you guess. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, can you just...
Can't touch this. Can't touch this.
Alright, any guesses?
This is kind of hard.
You got this.
The 1990s?
Yeah, both The Beginning of the End of the World by Lucille Clifton and Can't Touch This by MC Hammer are written in the same year, the 1990s. And you may ask, why is this important?
It gives background. The public was still recovering from World War II in the 1990s.
If you don't know anything about World War II, it basically was the only time nuclear weapons were used in war.
The fear of nuclear weapons causing the end of the world was not rare.
Did y'all hear that? That means we just finished the first text.
And now we're moving on to our second.
The Nuclear Taurus by George Johnson.
Annie, you know this story very well?
I kind of have some background knowledge.
Okay, let's hear it.
Alright, so George Johnson was born on January 20th, 1952 in Fayetteville, Kansas.
Do you know if he attended college?
Yeah, he attended college at the University of New Mexico in 1975. He received a BA in journalism. He also attended American University in 1979, where he received an MA in journalism and public affairs. I don't know anything about his books though, do you?
Yeah, I do know that he's written 9 books, and some of those include The Cancer Chronicles, written in 2013, The 10 Most Beautiful Experiments, written in 2008, and A Shortcut Through Time, The Path to the Quantum Computer, written in 2003. I also know that he's had his articles featured in 8 different magazines.
Do you know what those are?
Yeah, some of those include the New York Times, National Geographic, and the Wall Street Journal.
Wow, he's achieved a lot in his lifetime.
I was wondering if you could give us like a brief description of the plot of The Nuclear Tourist.
Yeah. George Johnson, he's writing about his tour of Chernobyl and the effect of the radiation explosion. It happened on April 26, 1986. Like, throughout the tour, Johnson spotted many deserted villages. This gave animals plenty of room to roam. Humans have a certain desire to see disaster unravel in front of them. That desire is why many places like Chernobyl have turned into tourist spots.
Next we have the time period, and The Nuclear Tourist was written about 28 years after the Chernobyl accident.
And as time has passed, the explosion site has turned into a tourist-filled area. So moving on to the theme, and do you have one in mind?
Yeah, I was thinking that every location has a story would be perfect for this.
Do you have reasoning?
So the theme kind of corresponds to this text because Chernobyl has a really dark past. So the nuclear explosion kind of uprooted everyone's lives that were living in Pripyat, and this caused them to have to leave their homes very unprepared. Okay, by now you guys have to know what that means.
That means we're moving on to our next text. There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury.
Well, first we're going to start off with some author information, so I was wondering if Annie could answer these questions.
Alright, so what's the first question?
When and where was Ray Bradbury born?
Ray Bradbury was born on August 22nd, 1920 in Waukegan, Illinois. At a young age, he showed a lot of interest in the local library and books, just in general.
Okay, the next question is, where did Bradbury receive his education?
He actually didn't go to college. He went to the Los Angeles High School, and he graduated in 1938, but he just decided not to pursue college.
Alright, so next question is, when did Bradbury publish his first literary work?
The very first short story Bradbury published was Hollebogen's Dilemma in 1938, but The Martian Chronicles was his very first piece of successful writing. This time I have a question. When did Ray Bradbury die?
He died on June 5th, 2012 at the age of 92.
Now let's talk about the plot. In There Will Come Soft Rains, one house is left standing after a nuclear war.
It's basically a smart house that runs a daily routine despite the fact that no one in the household is there.
And the house sees the humans as superior beings, and in the end, the only things left after the nuclear war are nature and technology. So that closely relates to our theme. Our theme is
Nature versus technology.
the animals in the smart house are the only forms of life left on Earth after the nuclear war.
And now, that brings us to the time period of when this text was written.
There Will Come Soft Rains was written in 1950. During this time period, the Cold War was instilling fear in people across the globe.
A lot of people were worried that a nuclear war would happen and imagining what the future would be like. Sadly, this is the last text that we'll be talking about today.
We had lots of fun diving deep into these texts and exploring with you all.
Stay tuned for our next episode.